Let's take a journey beneath the waves, diving deep into the dark depth of the Minecraft ocean. A creepy, otherworldly realm full of secrets, dangers, and... there's not much going on here. Let's change that. People have always loved the idea of building underwater ever since the early days of Minecraft. But as I'm sure many of you have found out the hard way, it's one of the toughest kinds of projects to tackle, which really sucks because like a good underwater base is really cool. Today we're going to be making 3 different kinds of underwater builds, each in a totally unique style. If you want to learn how to build like this or this, then be sure to stick around. Sit back, relax, and enjoy 7 quick tips for the best underwater builds in Minecraft. Shout out to Silas Child for the video idea. What kinds of build styles have underwater vibes? Pick one that works the best for you. If you ask me, the general aesthetic of the build matters a lot when you're working underwater. Of course, you can build however you like, but I've spent a while looking through the web at underwater builds, and I've noticed that a lot of my favorites fall into one of 3 main categories. And like I said in the intro, we're going to be trying out all of these over the course of the video. The first build style we'll be exploring is neoclassical and kinda European inspired, like Atlantis. I'm talking crumbling pillars and ornate architecture. We kind of get this vibe from the ocean monuments, but we can do a lot better. If classical architecture isn't really your thing, then let's jump into the future. People love using modern, sleek blocks like glass, concrete, and quartz in an aquatic, ultra-futuristic style. And last but definitely not least, for all you steampunk heads out there, we're going to be exploring a gritty, rusted out, deep sea kind of vibe, reminiscent of games like BioShock. I'm really excited to try out all 3 of these builds with you guys, but first we gotta learn how to build underwater. No matter how cool your style is, building underwater is still a mega pain in the neck. Or is it? Invest some time into tools that will make your underwater experience better. There's a really common misconception in Minecraft that water is super annoying. And I get it, for the longest time there were very few ways of making this less terrible. But that's actually no longer the case. Over the years, they've added a lot of enchantments, equipment, and strategies to make scooting around underwater a lot less of a pain than it used to be. Let me run you guys through a complete list of everything in the game that can make your experience quicker and easier. The Aqua Affinity enchantment allows you to mine at the same speed underwater that you would on land. The Respiration enchantments extend breathing time underwater by 15 seconds per level up to level 3, where you'd have a full minute underwater counting your normal breath. The Water Breathing potion, well, that's pretty self-explanatory. Night Vision potions actually allow you to see a lot clearer underwater. For each level of the Depth Strider enchantment, you can move 1/3 faster underwater. Depth Strider 3 allows you to walk underwater just as fast as you would walk on land without even swimming. Equipping a turtle shell as a helmet gives you an extra 10 seconds of breath underwater, and it instantly recharges upon reaching the air. Now, the biggest buff for underwater builds possible is of course the conduit, which gives permanent water breathing, night vision, and haste in a 96 block range, as well as attacking hostile mobs in the area. This thing is a must for basically any large scale underwater build. Dolphin's Grace is a cool little buff you can get from swimming near a dolphin that allows you to get a massive burst of speed. If you trap a dolphin near your build, you can cross large spaces a lot more easily. Riptide is a trident enchantment that allows you to zoom through the water with a burst of speed by throwing your trident in whatever direction you want. And that's just the stuff that's like explicitly meant to be used in the water. Let's not forget the classic door trick to give yourself an air bubble, or that you can use jack-o'-lanterns as an amazing early game light source. Glowstone and sea lanterns aren't really accessible. Lanterns use up your precious iron, but jack-o'-lanterns, haha, there you go. Oh, and don't worry, I didn't forget about sponges. We'll be talking more about them later. So yeah, there's a lot of tools for you to use in this game. I highly recommend taking a few hours to get a few of these guys farmed up before you start your underwater build. You're going to be saving yourself so much time and struggle in the long run. But now that I mention it, what are we actually going to be building with? Blocks look different underwater. Let's talk about your palette. Putting a build underwater is kind of like applying a blue filter to it. Everything's gonna be a bit dimmer and a bit darker, and well, not every block looks the same. Let me run you through some common building blocks and we'll see how they look. For starters, if you want to be able to like see, you're gonna need more lighting. Sea lanterns and frog lights are really great, they match the vibe very well. You could also actually put soul lanterns underwater and they match like the blue aquatic kind of vibe. Of course, glass looks fantastic underwater, but I'm sure you guys already knew that. Being able to look out at the aquatic world around you really is one of the coolest things in Minecraft. Hands down. To be honest, I don't really like how wood looks underwater. Of course, it depends on the type. I'm mainly talking about like the old school woods like oak and birch. But yeah, something about them is just not great. Maybe it's because you wouldn't really expect to find wood sitting at the bottom of the ocean. What I would expect though is rusted metal or other messy, roughed up textures like copper, prismarine, andesite, and diorite. With all that being said, I think I'm gonna go with these 3 block palettes on screen right now for our 3 different underwater builds. And without further ado, let's get on with the building. Thank you for sticking with me thus far. I know you guys really want to see some sick underwater builds, so let's get right into it. And we're starting with our first build. For this one, I want to stick with our neoclassical theme and make a ruined temple to the god of the seas. I'm imagining some sort of ancient civilization desperately praying to their ocean god as their society slowly sunk beneath the waves. It's pretty grim, but hey, we can make some cool ruins out of it. We're primarily using a blend of the quartz and the prismarine, mainly because the quartz really gives off that like ancient Greek kind of vibe that we want to mix with our underwater themes here, which we're getting from the prismarine. It's a pretty commonly used block palette, but it works really well. Of course, I'm throwing in a lot of stuff that's off-white like calcite and diorite to really play into the ruined vibes. The idea here is that there's actually much more structure submerged underneath the sand, and because so much of it has built up over the years, we're actually not able to see like 75% of this entire structure. That's why the statue in the temple is just a head, and you can't really see the bottoms of any of the pillars. So that previous build was cool and all, but maybe you don't want something that's all messy and ruined. Maybe you want something sleek and futuristic. Let's try it out. This build is going to be a futuristic observatory and science lab. If you've ever played Subnautica, you know exactly what I'm going for. In a lot of ways, this second build here is the complete opposite of the first one, right? Everything's sleek and clean, nothing's ruined. Instead of being classical, it's futuristic. Rather than focus on detailed structures and exteriors, this time we're really focusing on the interior. I'm really trying to make this entire thing feel secure, right? Like I've got a bunch of tubes and stuff, and everything is really clamped down to the ground because you can imagine the intense water pressure means that you can't really build flimsy structures down here. Deep Slate does a really good job at that. And of course, we're using a lot of end rods and sea lanterns as they look the most sci-fi. Alright, you guys already know I couldn't make an underwater builds video without revisiting the classic Steampunk Submarine from way back in July 2021. You guys really like this build. I still get a lot of comments asking for an updated tutorial. And don't worry, we'll get to that eventually. But for now, let me show you guys the brand new updated design. This entire time we've been ignoring the elephant in the room. Sponges. Like I briefly touched upon in tip 2, sponges are easily one of the best tools to speed up your underwater building. They can soak up a huge amount of water source blocks and they're infinitely reusable. But let's be real, going out to an ocean monument and raiding the whole thing for sponges, it can be a huge pain if you don't have a strategy in mind. Let me show you guys my preferred strat for raiding ocean monuments as quickly and painlessly as possible. Alright, first up, in addition to your normal combat gear, you're gonna need 3 TNT, 3 redstone blocks, about 16 or so building blocks, a bucket of milk, and a couple night vision and water breathing potions. Now we gotta go kill some Elder Guardians. Find your monument, pop your potions, and locate the 2 arms of the building, these guys right here. Then go to this exact spot that I'm pointing to right here. You can see how it's between the 2nd and the 3rd like bump on the arms. Put down a TNT, surround it in building blocks, and put a redstone block over the top. Since you fully encase the TNT, it's going to be sitting in an air block and it'll blow a hole right in through the top. Now you're able to go on ahead and kill the Guardian. Rinse and repeat for the other side. Next up, we're going to do the same strat on the very top of the monument, right about there. Blow your way in, kill the Guardian, and by now you should have a few sponges, but we can get a lot more than that. Go ahead and drink your milk bucket to get rid of the mining fatigue effect if you have it, and then from the inside of the top room where we are right now, I want you to dig down from all of these sea lanterns in the corners. Exactly like you're making a mine shaft, just dig down and away from you diagonally. And if you're lucky, you will dig right into at least one sponge room. Not every monument will have a sponge room, so you might get unlucky and you'll have to repeat this whole thing somewhere else, but chances are you'll hit the jackpot and claim at least half a stack of sponges. Just from one room, you can actually find more than one sponge room per monument. And that, my friends, is the easy way to get lots and lots of sponge. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. Given that you're here, you probably enjoyed, in which case don't forget to leave a like. And if you're not subscribed, I would appreciate if you did that too. Also, if you got any ideas for future videos, please do drop them down in the comments. I love suggestions and I will shout you out in a future video if I use your idea. Until next time, gamers, this has been Leon, and I'll see you all in the next 7 Quick Tips video. Stay cool, my dudes.